Even my dad, like my dad saw episode four, um, or when he did see episode four, which is like my meltdown episode.
Yeah,
You know,
iconic.
he was like, "Oh, you just went there to fight."
My name is Ash Thompson.
My name is Harper Hugo.
My name is Brent.
Yes, my name is Michael Fair.
Mabuhay! My name is Melinda Verga.
We are Drag Out the Love, and you're watching Queer in Alberta.
Mwah.
Welcome back to another episode of Queer in Alberta, the podcast where I chat with 2S LGBTQIA+ Albertans from all across the province to share their stories. My name is Kels. I'm a queer Filipino Canadian. I use she, her pronouns, and I film this series right here in Treaty 7 territory, home of the Blackfoot Confederacy, as well as the Otipemisiwak Métis government in the Alberta District Number 1, in what is also known as the city of Lethbridge, Alberta. Today, we are joined by an extra special guest. We are so excited that she made time for us and came to visit us in the digital space. Melinda Verga describes her drag as fun, fierce, and fabulous with a hint of messiness. This season queen, Reed Old, is known for her high energy performances, original looks, and live singing. Get ready for Edmonton's Gaysian sensation. Melinda Verga, welcome to the show, honey.
Period. Thank you for having me here.
This is
Mabuhay.
so exciting. Yes, mabuhay. I loved when you introduced yourself on Canada's Drag Race with mga chismosas. It really
Hello,
immediately...
mga chismosa.
Yes. I just started screaming in the house with my girlfriend who was like, huh?
Well, it's a tribute to all the Filipino Canadians out there. Definitely for Filipino Canadians first, and then
Yes.
for every Filipino around the world that's watching the show. I definitely needed to represent, first and foremost, Edmonton, and then, of course, our Filipino Canadian heritage.
Of course. And, I feel like everybody talks about the gay agenda, but my personal gay agenda is queer and Filipino. So this is checking a lot of boxes for me today.
100%. We're here, we're queer, and get used to it.
Get used to it, Diva. That's the episode.
We're fierce.
Wrap.
We're here, we're queer, we're fierce. Get used to it.
Get used to it. Well, again, like I said, it is so great to have you with us on the show. And I just wanted to quickly check, what are your pronouns outside of drag? And would you prefer if I called you Melinda or Mike today?
My pronouns out of drag are actually he, him.
Okay.
In drag, it's any. Today, you can call me Mike or Melinda. It doesn't really matter. But in a more informal social setting, I'm he, him as Mike. But today, I'm Melinda Verga. You can use any pronouns today.
Today, she does it all, just for me.
Correct. She's professional today.
She's professional.
It's a work day. But yeah, outside, if you all see me outside, out of phase, if you're gonna talk to me, it's Mike, it's he, him.
Respect the he, him, respect Mike's boundaries. Well, we can
That
work
part.
with that today for sure. And I have to say as well, and kind of like prepping for just chatting with you, I typed your name into YouTube. And do you know what one of the first things that came up was?
Oh God. Is that the Wrath of Melinda?
Oh no, I need to watch this one. I wish. It was like
Yeah.
Wrath adjacent. It was, I think, 11 minutes of Melinda Verga mothering in all caps.
That part, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I've seen that one. It's amazing. I actually had a podcast interview with them as well not too long ago. So yeah, I love that channel too.
Oh my God, I was obsessed. Literally watching it, I'm like, how does it feel to be catapulted to Drag Race iconic, royalty? Like, you really made a splash, to say the least, on your season.
But it's life after Drag Race is what you make it to be. Yes, there is that recognition, there is that fame, but at the end of the day, what's really more important is fortune. Fame and fortune, fortune any day.
She can be honest.
It's a job, and it's a job that we do, and a job that I happen to love so much. And I know I've said it elsewhere that for the first time in my life, I actually feel fully proud of what I do for a living. And but yeah, at the end of the day, more so than the fame, it's a job that we're doing and that we're happy to do.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta pay the bills at the end of the day. Otherwise, how are you gonna keep going?
Fortune, number one. I love that you came right out of the
Fortune,
gate with that. She came with
number one.
truth.
Yep, 100%. You
All
know?
right. Well, my love, I want to take us into our first fun segment of the interview, which is called Quickfire Queer. And it's a lightning round where I have 5 fruity rapid fire questions, and you get
All
5
right.
seconds to answer each question. You think you can handle it?
Let's go, girls. Da, 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 da.
All right. What is the queerest thing about Edmonton, Alberta?
The queerest thing about Edmonton, Alberta?
Uh-huh.
Our love. Ah!
Great
Me!
start. You. Yeah. Period. Mother Melinda.
Me! Yeah, well, I mean, I guess at this point, I'm one of the most well-known Edmonton queers. If not the most well-known.
There it
Whatever.
is.
So I'd say me.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
You. Excellent first answer.
Yeah.
How did it feel to win Snatch Game?
Oh my God, everything. I got to represent our Filipino heritage and got to act a fool.
And as like
was everything.
Manny as well. I was sitting there
Manny.
absolutely gagged, Diva.
Oh, of course, very much. Thank you very much for having me here at Touch Break Station. That was just the most idiotic thing I've ever said on television, but I had fun with it.
It was perfect. Your third question is, it's Magic Sing Night. What is your showstopper number?
What kind of night?
Magic Sing. Karaoke.
Karaoke night. Oh, yeah. Let's go. As Melinda or as Mike?
Both.
As Mike, ILB by Ed McCain is my go-to. As Melinda, I love singing A Landslide
Okay.
by Fleetwood Mac
I
or
can't.
Smashing Pumpkins.
I can't wait to see those both at your next number. You're going to perform.
I believe you did
Drag
see me
King,
sing,
Drag
though,
Queen. I did.
in Calgary, and I did Habang May Buhay, which is one of my favorite Filipino songs.
I know, you had the whole room like weeping as you sang that. It was good.
Definitely a moment. That was a great night.
Your fourth question is, what is the one Filipino dish that you couldn't live without?
Ooh, I love caldereta.
I just made, it's not caldereta, but I think my answer right now is leche flan. I just made one the other day.
That too.
It was so good.
I actually went to a Filipino restaurant the other day, like a carinderia, like one of those heat lamp places.
Yeah.
And I had caldereta for my main, and then for dessert I had this cake with leche flan on top.
Oh
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
But it's like an angel cake, and then it has a layer of leche flan on top.
Oh my God. Okay, kain tayo. Next time I go to Edmonton, you're going to take me
100%.
there and we're going to feast.
Boom.
Okay, are you ready for your final quickfire queer question?
Let's go.
Okay, this is a bit of a tea alert. Whose drag scene is better, Edmonton or Calgary?
Oh, Edmonton. Next.
Easy. Done. Busted. You didn't even hesitate. That was vicious, Diva.
I mean, how many Alberta's Next Drag superstars do we have already that have come out of Edmonton?
I mean, here we go. She came to spit facts.
I mean, okay. First of all, it doesn't take away from the fact that every time I visit Calgary, and I think I've been in Calgary 6 times this past year, and by this past year I mean since we became, this drag race phenomena, the cast anyway. And this whole time that this has been happening, I've been to Calgary 6 times, and every time I visit Calgary, or whether performing or just visiting, I love Calgary more and more and more and more each time. Seriously, that is not me trying to defend my previous answer. That is just me stating the truth that I just love Calgary more and more every time I visit. I've even contemplated. I'm like, can this be like a home someday? No, not that I would anytime soon. But I was like, if that was ever an option, Calgary is definitely on top of the list for me.
I get it though. I feel like similarly about Edmonton because I actually grew up like, do you know Bonnyville, Cold Lake? Yeah, that's where I grew up. So I have like many of my titas and everybody are in Edmonton and spent a lot of time there as a kid, but only as an adult. Like, now I've been to Evolution and like exploring and getting to know the community and the scene there. There's such different cities and different drag communities, but both fantastic.
The vibe between the two cities, on the surface they look like they could be the same or they would be the same, but they're not.
Yes.
Once
Yeah.
you're in the scene, once you're in the city, you would really realize very quickly there are two different cities. And for me, having lived, because I moved to Toronto back in the late 2000s.
Right.
I moved to Toronto. I lived there for 7 years, and coming back here, I was like, oh, yeah, no, these are two in different cities.
So different. And I love getting
Mhm.
to explore them, just like you're saying with getting to know Calgary. But that was your quickfire queer, and I think you aced
Period.
it. One of the most
Period.
spicy out of the gate quickfire queers I've had in a while.
Period. You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready to just kind of like shoot from the hip and just be as
Yes.
authentic as it can be, and that's who I am.
Yes, and I loved that about you, and I feel like it really came through even just watching you on Canada's Drag Race season. What season was it? Season 3?
4.
4. Okay, I'm just bad with numbers, but I know it was the most recent
That's
before the
fine.
one airing now.
If you did see season 3 though, you would know the difference.
It's true. It's true. And I'm
You would
here
know
for
the
this
difference.
mic drop because I agree. This was the season with you and like so many other amazing queens that I was like, whoa, this is like a tour de force. It's fantastic.
Like people who had never even watched Canada's Drag Race
Mhm.
tuned in because their friends and friends of their friends told them, "Oh my God, there's this crazy on that show. You have to watch this season of Canada."
Uh-huh.
I got so many comments like that they'd never seen it, but their friends and the friends of their friends of their friends told them to watch it because there was this crazy and
Mhm. I mean, own it. Do you ever get like, because there was that creator on TikTok that started very demure, very mindful,
oh, okay,
right?
yeah,
And people would like come up to her in public and be like, very demure, very mindful.
right,
Does anyone
right.
come up to you and just be like,
Uh,
with gratitude?
all the fucking time. Like I'm never going to outlive
That
that.
moment.
And yes, it's not always like I'm not always like thank you.
Hmm.
I'm not
Hmm.
always like that because sometimes you just need to be able to turn off the you know that that scene and just be myself, just be Mike. But
Yes.
I
Yeah.
signed up for this. This is part of being in the public sphere. So anyone out there who is wanting to become this public figure, be ready because there is no off button. You can try
Uh-huh.
your best to separate your private from your public life, but to people who really just um, are there for you and are there for the experience that they got to have while watching you on television. To them, there's no off button. That is part of the journey, and we need to be gracious about that, even if we don't feel like it.
I love this like queen speech, this princessa, very elegant, very regal.
But it's also very true. Like
Yes.
you you gotta find uh I don't live like a life that like, oh my God, my life's a dream. No, I actually have had a lot of drama in my life.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the reason why I learned grace, I learned
Mm.
dignity is because of those low lows that I've had in my life. That okay, so now that you've reached low low, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna like lash out? Are you gonna be like this bad boy, bad girl, whatever? No,
Mhm.
carry on with grace, carry on with respect, and carry on with dignity. And that's kind of like how I got to be where I'm at right now in my life. It's
For
trauma.
sure. Trauma. Everything comes back to trauma. She builds
It's
us, she
trauma.
breaks us.
Trauma trained my mind, and no, it's not a pageant answer. It's just like where I'm at in my life is like
Mhm.
respect for yourself and respect for other people.
For sure. And again, I think that really comes through like that aspect of your character. And so
Hmm.
many people, like we're saying, absolutely loved your run on Canada's Drag Race. But even like you mentioned earlier, I actually hadn't seen you perform live until that event in Calgary with Marina Summers and Stephanie Prince. And I just have to tell you two things. The first is that you were utterly electric on stage as a performer. Like you looked stunning. You were doing all these death drops and flips. Like I can't even do that. That was so impressive to watch. And the second is that like it was one of the first times being in Twisted with this like all Filipino cast and event that I had been in like a gay bar with that many other community members, like other Filipinos. And I didn't know how much I needed that.
Wasn't that an amazing
It was
experience
so
to just have
cool.
all your kababayans with you
Yes.
there? Doesn't matter if they've been here 20 years, 10 years, or
Mhm.
2 months. Different Filipinos of different backgrounds were there, and they were all just like so proud of that moment that we got to have Filipino queer artists
Yes.
just doing their thing and entertaining. And for me at that time, what was really really important for me was to be able to also not just showcase like the Filipino look, but also Filipino content. Like that's why I
Yes.
sang "Habang May Buhay," and I also did that here in Edmonton with Marina as well. That was important for me to be able to share Filipino culture, not just with the way we look, but also with the way we sound.
Yes. Yes.
And there is nothing more electrifying for Filipinos than hearing that the language, just hearing the sound and hearing Filipino music. So I was so happy and so proud to be able to offer that to that crowd that night. And I'm glad you were there. You got to experience the Melinda Verga experience.
It was amazing. And I think like you're articulating it beautifully with language and music, but even as simple as like to hear a whole room of Filipinos like cackling at full
Yeah,
loudness when you did a drop or
and
something, I was
and
like,
gossiping.
yes, yes. I was like, oh my God, I missed this.
That was everything.
And I don't know if you noticed this, but because Birthday Girl, who is a Calgary
Mhm.
performer based in Calgary as well, was there. I think she was kind of hosting with you a little bit, wasn't she?
Well, no, I hosted mainly, but
Yeah,
Birthday Girl is kind of like the main
that's it.
queen at Twisted, or one of the main queens at Twisted. So she was definitely on hand to support, and yeah, she was there with us performing as well. So we
Yes.
made her honorary Filipino that night.
Right? She was an honorary
Hopefully,
ate.
hopefully that after that night or soon enough that she becomes a Filipino by injection.
I mean, keep it G-rated, but I hear you.
You know what I mean? So yeah, no, and we're the kind of people I think that we don't care who we're around. We just love being
And we bring people in.
around everyone, different kinds of people, and
Mhm.
sharing our not just our culture but our heart. Like
Yes.
Filipinos have such have big hearts, and we do not discriminate. We do not choose who gets to experience that with us. So just having again having Birthday Girl there with us, and also the team at Twisted having their
Mhm.
for us with us, that was definitely an electrifying experience for me as well, and I'm always grateful to be at Twisted and to keep coming back to Twisted. So
Yes, definitely. And part of why I brought Birthday Girl up is I don't know if you saw this on stage, but it was really clear window from my perspective in the audience. At the
mhm,
end, there was that group number that everybody did, right? And the
right,
audience is like, play Release Me or play I'm a Filipina. And then Marina was like, oh, let's do I'm a Filipina. And the look
right.
on Birthday Girl's face,
Yeah.
she was just like, I don't know it. I can't do it. And I thought it was
No, I think
so
she
funny.
I think she even said my drag then. Like poor girl. I don't even know the lyrics, like all of it. I don't even know all of it. But
Uh-huh.
you just go with it, whatever. Just have fun with the crowd.
Oh my
What
God,
did we
yeah.
end up doing anyway?
I can't remember, to be honest, but the whole night, I
Oh,
know I had a good time.
Bang Bang was that stupid Stephanie Prince.
You're
That's one of
right.
her.
It
That's
was
one of her
Bang Bang.
go-tos. Because otherwise, she won't be lip sync. She won't be able to lip sync for her life or anything else. So what?
There's the tea. Continuing to spill it. Only what,
No, I
15 minutes
I
into
love
the
Steph.
interview.
I love that skate. So no, full T. I love Stephanie Prince.
Definitely. But alongside your experiences on Canada's Drag Race, you've been performing, like we said, with amazing talents like Marina Summers and starring as a cast member in the second season of the Traitors Canada, which is currently airing. I haven't seen any of the Traitors yet because I don't have
Oh,
Crave, but no spoilers. But tell me, how does it feel to have so many big things happening in such a short period of time?
I mean, I have to take a moment sometimes to just kind of stop and say to myself, "Oh my God, is this my life now? Yes, this
Hmm.
is your life now. Because you know what? You've worked too hard all your life to get to where you're at right now. This is your life. Own it."
Yes,
But
deserve.
yeah, just being everywhere right now. Again, that sense of gratitude, like that's always a thing for me because I know what it's like to have absolutely nothing or to be treated
Mm.
like absolutely nobody, to be invisible, to be made to feel like you're that people don't see you, that you don't matter. I know
Hmm.
what that's like. I know what it's like to be excluded. So whenever I have the opportunity to to be included, to be a part of something big, to be a part of something great, and to express my whole self authentically. I have nothing but gratitude because, like I said, I know what it's like to have nothing, to be nobody, to be invisible.
Mm.
So that's where that spirit of with gratitude comes from.
For sure. And I feel so proud to see, like you said, like you representing not only Alberta, but our experiences as Filipinos living in
Hundred
Alberta
percent,
and sharing our culture. So I want to
100%.
know, how have Filipino Canadians responded to your run on Drag Race, and how has it felt to create more Filipino representation in mainstream media?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not 100%. Everyone going, "Oh my God, I'm so proud of you! Thank you for representing." No, it's not.
Mhm.
It's not.
Mhm.
Because within our community, and I will call out those people because I have the opportunity right now to do that. I will also call out those people that are there. Uh, and to bully people online, to tell you,
Ooh.
oh, this is not representative of Filipino drag. She is rough. She is aggressive. She is. There are those people as well, and that's part of the experience. I 100% get it. Sadly, a lot of those comments are also coming from other Filipinos, other Filipino
Mhm.
Canadians. So there is that part there, and that is something that we just need to work on as a community. That if we are there, we are represented, support each other. Like
Yeah.
there is that crowd mentality that still exists. Doesn't matter where we go, where we get ourselves. There is that crowd mentality that if a Filipino sees another Filipino succeeding, there is that
Mhm. Mhm.
che, like that kind of feeling. And I have to, and if I'm just being honest, I have come across that this past year. But what I have chosen to dwell on and what still dominates um my social media are those Filipinos that are just so goddamn proud that they
Yes.
got that they got to see themselves on TV in its full glory, that they got to hear their sound on Canada's Drag Race, that they got to see this character Manny Pacquiao, although he's not very well liked apparently.
Oh.
Um, that they got to see him, and we got to be funny, sounding, looking, and being the way that we are.
Yes.
That I got to show our humor, show our spirit, show our um just that fucked up head that we a lot of us have, but still being able to capture audiences of different
Mhm.
backgrounds and different cultures from everywhere. So in that regard, a lot more people are definitely proud, are definitely happy that they got to see me
Mhm.
there, but most importantly, that they got to see themselves on television.
Yes, and I love that you said that, because I feel like the negative comments or the hate comments, they can always be really, really loud. I've even like experienced them for being biracial and like half Filipino, half Canadian. And there's so
Hmm.
many layers, right? Where again, it's that crab mentality, all these things of like, you're not Filipino enough, or you're not doing Filipino justice, or whatever it is. So I think like pointing out that, yeah, there's negativity, but the support has been so much bigger is really
100%.
beautiful to see.
You can't deny that. It's part of the experience. It's part of any
Hmm.
experience. It just was disappointing that like a good number of it was coming from other Filipinos. But
Yes.
like I said, A, I chose to dwell on the positive, and B, because there are a lot more Filipinos out there, Filipino Canadians out there that are just super happy and just super proud. So
Yeah. No, I really admire that because, again, it really relates to my experience and the experience of my friends, whether they're second generation immigrant or all these sorts of things, where maybe we feel like we go into Filipino spaces and it's not all the time. I want to be really clear about that. We're such a welcoming
mhm,
people, but there can be instances where you feel maybe like a little judged or like you're
mhm,
not enough
100%.
again. So I really admire
Yeah.
that confidence and strength that you're speaking to, and maybe wonder a bit where that comes from. How did you get there?
Again, trauma.
Okay,
like I
let me
said,
write that
like I said
down.
earlier, I'd say
Wow.
I've lived a difficult life, and not even just because the universe just keeps giving me all these
Mm,
difficult cards to deal with, but also because I'm a very stubborn person. I like learning things the hard way. So some of that is also by
mm,
choice, right?
mhm,
But at the same time, if and when I do learn an important lesson because of my own doing, it definitely sticks.
mm,
Um,
mhm.
so as I've navigated life, and it's not like a straight forward journey. And even my dad, like my dad saw episode 4. or when he did see episode 4, which is like my meltdown episode,
Yeah,
you know,
iconic.
he was like, oh, you just went there to fight. My dad, of all people, I think knows that I have made choices in my life
That's
that are
so
like, oh,
funny.
what the fuck are you doing? That kind of thing, right? So, my life hasn't been easy because, yes, a lot of that is also my own doing. But I've learned a lot of very, very important lessons, and lessons that have stuck only because I got to learn them the hard way. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the reason now that I have this platform, that I'm on this platform, so that I can impart a lot of that to people that are maybe going through the same things, to people
Mm-hmm.
that are also struggling to find their identity, not just their queer identity, but um, their. It's hard to navigate a society where you feel othered.
Yes.
So there's also that, and I grew up with that here, being here in Edmonton, and I grew up with that, and I'm glad that things are changing. So just a lot of like different layers and different circumstances that I have been through, different situations that have made me the person I am right now. So whenever I'm asked if I would change anything in my life, I'm like, no, I wouldn't, because
I get that.
otherwise I don't know what kind of person I would have been if my run on Drag Race, for instance, would have been a lot smoother. If they were always like, yes, queen, sickening, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you guys would have seen a different Melinda. I'm not gonna lie to you. The different Melinda that auditioned for season 3 is a different Melinda from season 4. And the reason why I was the way I was on season 4, meaning more vulnerable, just more
Mm-hmm.
um, unafraid to just be messy, to just show that side of me that is dark.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason that happened is because of all the I went through these past several years, and how I managed to kind of claw my way out of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that that happened, because now the world is seeing that it is possible to succeed. It is possible to make it to great places just by being you. You don't need to fix yourself or rearrange your being just to please people. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I got to share that message.
No, that really resonates with me because I think even like for me coming out, for example, was a challenging thing, and it took over 10 years for my nanay and my dad to maybe start becoming more accepting and open to the idea. And people,
Hmm.
they ask you about it, but just like you, I wouldn't change a single thing that I went through
Hmm.
because it made me so strong and so much more
Correct.
empathetic and caring. Like I'm very grateful for those experiences that you're sharing.
Isn't that amazing that
Yeah.
your hardships teach you empathy,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
it teaches you respect,
Mm,
and that is not something you get with privilege.
mm,
I think these are,
that's
and
powerful.
you're saying now that I just kind of radiated, because it just comes out of me naturally, because I went through so much, and I don't
Mm,
want people to feel like by putting them down just so I can prop myself up. That is just not me,
mhm,
because I know what it's like. It's because I grew up with all these hardships that I became this, tough person, but also very empathetic. Like I have, yeah, I have zero tolerance for disrespect, but I also have this deep well of compassion for, especially for people who cannot speak for or defend themselves. I'm big on that, and I
mhm.
think that's also one of the reasons that I had that meltdown on that show, was that I'm not gonna have this bullshit. That 6 of these motherfuckers are ganging up on me right now. Oh my god.
Justified, justified.
So it wasn't just like, oh, she's rude, she's obnoxious. I get it, whatever. People don't see everything that happens.
Mhm.
Not that my castmates or not my friends,
Yes,
were bullies or anything, but it's just part of the experience. And I was just like, it all piled up on me, and I'm like, I'm not gonna have any of this. So I fought hard. You back me up
exactly.
against the wall, I'm gonna keep swinging.
For sure. And I think like you talking about all of this is making remember too how like again with that event in Calgary, regardless of
Mhm.
whether I spoke fluent Tagalog or not, was biracial or second generation immigrant, it was just a space for all Filipinos regardless to be together. And so thank you so much for working and creating spaces like that in Alberta.
Oh, it's my honor. It's my pleasure and my honor to be able to do that for our community.
It
And
was one of the
I.
coolest experiences of my life. Like, I loved it.
Mhm.
I was like, is this what it would be like if I went home to the Philippines and like found a gay bar, found our community? It was just a window into something that was so special.
And it's not even maybe about um, going to the Philippines or going back to the homeland, to the
Mm,
motherland, whatever. We are here now. We have created our space here. We
yes.
are Filipino Canadians. I actually keep saying I'm Canadian first, and then I am Filipino, and that is because a lot of what now I have learned in life, a lot of the skills that I have gained and nurtured, and really that have the skills that have allowed me to become who I am now is because of my experiences here in Canada. I
Wow.
think I'll forever be grateful for my childhood in the Philippines, for a lot of the things that I got to inherit being Filipino, like that, being fierce, knowing how to sing, all that stuff. But I trained in dance here, I trained in singing here, I trained in acting here, I trained to be a designer here in Canada. So I owe this country so much. So
Mm,
my first my the first community that comes to mind. It's my Filipino Canadian communities, and I need to make that very very clear that I'm here for Filipino Canadians because this is now our space. This is now
yes.
our home. This we have a responsibility for this country as a whole to share our culture, to share our heritage, and become an integral part of what this country needs to become in the future. And I think that is what's missing for a lot of Filipinos who are not feeling like they're still a part of this country or that
Mm-hmm.
they're already part of this country. We need to realize that we're here now. We're very much part of this country, and we need to be very, very proud of what we can do and what we have done in this country.
Yes. And I find that so interesting, just on a personal note, that you say you identify or introduce yourself as Canadian first and then Filipino. Because I feel like it just, for me, it's the opposite. I'm always putting Filipino first because I'm so proud of that heritage.
Mhm.
And it's something to think about.
100%. And I feel that way. It's just what I'm just saying is, for me, the longing of like going home or going back,
Mm,
um it's not really there anymore because I've been here in Canada for 30 years. That's more than
mm-hmm.
half of my life now. My family is here, and home is here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I get
Like,
you.
my roots will be there, but home is here now. My heart is here now. I will, like I said, forever be grateful, however, for our heritage, for everything that I got to experience there as a kid, for
Mm-hmm.
everything that I got to learn there as a kid, and just again some of the things that came to me naturally, like my love for singing and dancing.
I
I
mean,
think
in
that's a
our
very, very,
DNA,
I
baked
think
into
that's
our
a very Filipino
DNA.
thing. You can take the girl out of the Philippines, but you can never take the Philippines out of the girl.
You can't take the magic sing
Kind
out
of
of the
thing.
girl.
That will always be there. But yeah, I need to make it very, very clear that I'm very proud to be Canadian and very proud
Mm-hmm.
to be a part of this country and to contribute to the tapestry that is so 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 rich in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
country. And I urge other Filipino Canadians to do the same and fully contribute to this place that we call now our home, because it gives so much to us as well. So I think it's our duty to
Yeah.
be able to contribute fully and 100% as well. So.
For sure, contribute as well as like when we are able, educate on the larger history of these lands. Like I talked with Francesca Dynamite, Kuya Kiko, in a different episode, and she's a dear friend of mine now. And she told me, like as an immigrant coming to Canada, you're so worried and concerned about your papers and your family and building this new life for you that maybe you don't have the time or even the awareness to educate on, say, Indigenous rights or issues and histories in Canada. But now, like, I actually think a few years ago at, her movie Prairie Queen, right?
Mhm,
I watched the premiere here in Lethbridge, and she was one of the first drag performers that I ever saw give a land acknowledgement before the premiere.
mhm.
So it's really fascinating to see, like, yes, we give back and share our culture, but then we
Yeah.
learn about the history here and continue to educate even folks that have been here longer than us.
Correct, 100%. It's important for us to acknowledge, cultures that have been here long before we were here,
Yes.
especially, First Nations people, the Métis and the Inuits. It's very important for us to acknowledge that they've been here much longer than any
Time
of us.
immemorial.
We acknowledge everything that you have done, and you have been thriving in these lands much longer than any of us have been here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here for you. We see you. We respect you. That it doesn't matter how long have you've been here. We all need to be aware of whose lands we are on right now, and to be grateful for for them for letting us live our best lives in this country. I actually have cousins who are half indigenous. One of my nephews is quarter indigenous, so my partner's Métis, so
Mm-hmm.
very much a part of my life, very much a part of my family. So proud, by the way, that my family is kind of like, you look at us and we're like United Nations. Everyone's everyone is there.
Diba?
I told you, Filipinos. I told you, Filipinos.
That's
We
so
welcome
funny.
we welcome everyone with open arms and open legs.
Oh my god. Melinda Verga, United Nations, open for business. But I'm really curious, like you're referencing coming here when you were 16. Were you at all like out as a teenager? Like what was your experience of coming out in Alberta as a queer Filipino?
Well, I mean, I think being skinny when I was a kid and just so hyper and energetic. I'd always been teased when I was a kid, so that's part of the
Mm.
trauma there again. Even as a kid, I'd always been called like
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
And because also because I love dancing and I loved singing. That was always a part of who I am. So that the slurs have started way before I even knew.
That's what Kuya said too. Like Kuya said growing up in the Philippines that like if people see it in you, they'll clock you and like call you like hey bakla and all this kind of stuff. Like
hmm
it's the
Or
same.
if you don't play basketball, which actually I'm
Gender,
which actually
testosterone.
I was great in volleyball, but
I
the thing
believe
is
it.
the thing is I'm actually good at basketball as well. And at 5'10", I'm like at 5'10", being Filipino at 5'10", I'm like
Defying stereotypes.
right, but I actually am good at it as well, but it's just not something that I was really interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, it started on when I was a kid, but I didn't really come to realize my own latent homosexuality until I reached university. See, university
Mm-hmm.
is going to corrupt you kids. Liberal
I mean,
arts is going to
same.
corrupt you kids.
I went to a liberal arts Rooney and now look where I am.
Period. And I got to see, and I believe at that time no, I'd already turned 18 at that point. Maybe I had just turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I saw um, Angels in America.
I don't know what that is. A movie?
Oh, you need to look it up.
Okay.
Groundbreaking, revolutionary,
I put it
queer
on my
art. So I got to see Angels in America, and just reading it, it was like erotica for me. I was like,
Gateway.
at 18. It's not meant to be like that, but that was me at 18 reading
Angels
this.
in America.
I'm like, what is going on? Why am I so aroused right now? Right? Like, why? What's going on? What is going on, God? And that's when I was like, God, what's going on?
I think we had the same coming out experience, just through a different medium.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw the play because it was part of the course. It was drama 102 at the U of A,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing we had to do was discuss the play, read it, whatever. But we also needed to see the play, and then we could write an analysis of the play. But when I saw the play, and I think that was the first time I got to see two guys, naked, fully
Gasp.
frontal,
Scandal.
everything naked, kissing each other, and they had like a sex scene there,
Incredible.
simulated, but they had a sex scene there that destroyed me.
No crumbs. 8 devoured.
That destroyed me. That was, I think, the
You look like you're reliving it right now. A little bit. She needs a moment.
That destroyed me, and so that was the beginning of the questioning for me until you explore, you do your thing. I also got to be away for a couple months, 2-3 months or so, going to Montreal.
Cool.
So the end of that year. So this was fall, and then by spring, I applied for the summer language bursary program. I got to go to Montreal to study French and be in a French immersion program. I got to immerse myself in Quebec culture.
How was that?
So yeah, just being away from everyone, my friends, my family, my faith community at that time. I just got to be who I am, or got to explore who I was about to become.
Mm-hmm.
And so those were pivotal moments in my life. Like seeing Angels in America and going to Montreal for French immersion made me gay.
Oh
There you
my
go.
God. Oh
It's
my
that drag queens
God.
that will make her children gay, folks.
That's
It's
it.
Montreal.
That's what all the conservatives are scared of.
It's university and it's Montreal.
Literally, it's education. But
It's education.
that's so funny because you went to Montreal and that was
Mhm.
like what gave you your I'm gay experience. For me, my Montreal was Lethbridge, Alberta.
Lethbridge.
Lethbridge diva, and we're still here. Like,
It's not even Edmonton or
it's not
Calgary.
even Edmonton. Lethbridge. It's gayer than you think.
I mean, hey, kudos to you, mama.
Thank you. She can do her
I mean,
things.
I love that for all y'all.
Have you ever been to Lethbridge? Like, you need to come visit and do a show first and foremost.
Y'all need to reach me, and that needs to happen stat.
Yes,
That's all I'm saying.
absolutely.
Say Melinda, let's do a show.
Yes, hearing it here first. And I mean, like, that makes me think of how, like, there's so many Filipino queens and artists coming onto the scene, which is so exciting. Like, would you say that's a huge shift from when you started drag, seeing all these, like, Filipino performers today?
Listen, okay, so I have this passion project, which is very similar to what you saw in Calgary when you saw us
Mhm.
at the Marina show, and it's called Pinay Pie.
Yes, yeah.
And in fact, I have a feeling that the reason my manager put together a predominantly Filipino cast is because he's seen the success of my Pinay Pie shows. So the reason why I put that together is because when I was first coming out as a drag performer, when I first came out as a drag performer, not out of the closet, but like burst onto the scene
Mhm.
as a drag performer,
Debut.
I think at that point I might be the only Filipino performer left. There was a Queens of the Orient,
No
which is this fierce
way.
Filipino group.
I've never heard of this
Um,
before.
so they were legendary in Edmonton back in mid early 2000s, right? I just come back from Toronto, but as I was rising, they were starting to kind of move on with their own lives. So until a point that I think I was the only one left, the only Filipino performer for a little bit of time anyway, left here in this city, and then I became Miss Gay Edmonton. So
Mhm.
now there's this Filipino drag performer in Edmonton who's kind of on the rise. And then came out other Filipino performers,
Mhm.
which was amazing. Like I was like, yes, let's go, let's
So
own this
cool.
city, let's take the city. That was kind of like what's going on in my head at that time. But the flip side to that is, as they were all coming out, I'm just hearing all the time, oh, she's like baby Melinda.
Mhm.
Oh, she's like Melinda, but this. Just and they remind me of Melinda. And it's always like, why are
Okay.
we comparing me to them? So I put together Pinay Pie to show that there is a difference in our drags. There is diversity in the Filipino drag performers that were up and coming at that time, and that was the goal of that show. So we all got to showcase different talents, different styles. So it was me, Artesia, Kyokar, Rexy Resurrection, and Rosal Christina, who used to be
Mm.
with Queens of the Orient. And we all got to just show different things. One was doing comedy, the other I sang live. Keo is a former cheerleader, all-star cheerleader, so she was stunting. Rosal Christina, aside from singing live, she's a very crafty queen, so she got to show a lot of her crafty creations. And then there's Artesia, who's very femme. So it was just all different styles, and that was the goal of that. And here we are 5 years later. Like I've taken it to all the way to Ottawa. I've taken it to Calgary.
Yeah.
So partly because yes, now I have this platform, and um, I got to share to different cities what it's like to have a fierce all Filipino cast, and we're not done yet.
We're not done. Just getting started. But that is so interesting to me. Like, I never knew any of that history about what was it? The House of the Orient or
Queens of the Orient.
Queens of the Orient. That is something I would love to chat with you more about in the future, just like out of sheer curiosity. That's amazing.
I can actually wait. Give me 1 second.
Oh, yeah, for
Don't go
sure.
anywhere. So I'm gonna tell you, one of their leaders,
Oh my God.
passed away this past year,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry to
after
hear
her
that.
passing, or while she was about to, her bestie who still lives here in Edmonton, so she had moved to Vancouver, and her name is
Okay.
Tiara Manila. She had polish already, and she was Alberta's first drag superstar.
Mm-hmm.
So as she was about to pass away, because she was already in a coma, I think at that point last 2 springs ago now, I
Mm.
had just returned from from filming Drag Race, and
Wow.
one of her besties, she had all her stuff, and she said, "I hear that you're going to be competing in a pageant, so if you want new things, if you want to take all of this," I was
Uh,
like, "Well, let's see." So I went to her place, and this is one of the things that I got to see. This is her big crown that she got to wear in parades.
it's
She is,
huge.
she is just a queen, and I got to inherit this, and I still have this with me, and
Wow.
I'm keeping this because this is
Yes.
iconic.
Thank you so
Um,
much for showing us that. That's beautiful.
you need to look them up on the internet. I'm sure there are pictures floating around. It's the
Yes.
Queens of the Orient.
Yes, I mean, as a side note, I'm doing like an exhibition project with Edmonton Heritage with, do you know Hot Wheels?
Yes.
Yes, so Hot Wheels, I'm doing some stuff like about their drag journey, and a portion that
Hmm.
they want is to learn about like that legacy of Filipino queens in Edmonton. So now for sure I have something to research. So thank you so much.
Are they Filipino?
Yes, Hot Wheels is Pinoy. Yeah. Same. How did you not know?
I don't. Well, I don't think I've met them outside of drag. That's
Oh my
why.
God, you need to meet them. They are so lovely.
Well,
Like,
I mean, I've worked with them. I've been in shows with
yes,
them,
yes, yeah.
but they've always been in drag.
Like in
I just don't
Sia.
remember ever meeting them outside of drag.
Oh man, like I feel like cuz they were on season 1 of Queer in Alberta, and like it was very early in their drag career, and now like everything has changed so much from their gender expression to their performance style. So I feel like you should definitely connect with them outside of drag.
So for the next Pinay Pie,
Yes. Yes, facilitate. I'm so happy that this is going to happen now because we dropped that bomb. Yes.
period. Thank you.
Here we go, making things happen for one another. But you know, we are winding down in our interview here, and I guess I wanted to ask you, as a few last minute questions, what is your favorite thing about being queer in Alberta?
My favorite thing about being queer in Alberta is actually all the challenges that we've had. That's actually
Mm.
one of my favorite things about being queer in this province. I think for because we haven't had it easy in this province as queer people. I think that's what makes us who we are. First and foremost, I think that forces us to be humble. That it's a
Mm-hmm.
very humbling experience to be queer in Alberta, to be queer in Edmonton. That's number one. Um, but that also has forced us to just grow a big heart, because if the people at large where you're living are not there for you, then we got to be there for each other. And if you know what it's like to be othered, if you know what it's like to not be included, then you create those spaces and you include as many fucking people as you can. And
Mm-hmm.
the third thing that I love about being queer in this province, that um, um, uh, again, the humbling experience and then including people, is having that warped sense of humor. I think for all
Yes.
the, and I talk about trauma so much. I think for all
Trauma.
the hardships that we've had, for all the traumas that we've experienced, that I've experienced anyway, it is because of all those difficult situations. It's because of the difficulties I've had in my life that now I have this warped sense of humor, that I'm not afraid to just be unhinged and be messy and just
Uh-huh.
let my hair down. And being here in Alberta forces us to be that way. You have to find the funny in the most up situations, and that is just
Yes.
that, folks. Stop
Mm-hmm.
complaining about our lives here and let's stay here. Stop moving out. We need a talent. We have so many talented and beautiful people in
Mm-hmm.
this province. Please stay. We need you here. Let's all just, like I said, try to include as many of each other as possible. Have that humble spirit, that big heart, and at the end of the day, let's just laugh. Laugh at
Mm-hmm.
our hardships. Laugh at all these people that are making our lives so difficult at times. And I think that is the key to succeeding, not just in this province but in this world as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And let us be the example of that, of what it's like to thrive in a place that doesn't want you there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think that's so important too, that piece about like it's important that we stay, especially when things are understandably daunting or
Stay.
challenging.
Yeah.
But we need those people here to be those, whether artists or advocates, proponents of change, and who stick up for our community in really, really big ways.
Correct.
So I'm
And it's cheaper
so.
here. It's cheaper here. Where you
And
gonna go?
also, economically, it makes more sense. Oh my God, that's so funny, Mama. But thank you so much for your time. If I may, I had asked the audience online if they had any questions for you, and a few people
Yeah,
submitted some quick ones. Do you think we have time?
let's do it.
Let's do it. So this one is from Keeks, who is also a drag performer and burlesque performer in Edmonton. You might know her.
Oh,
She's in
geeks,
the
yeah.
yeah, the House of Ebony. But she
Yeah.
said, "What are some of the ups and downs of reality TV?"
Oh, so yeah, we briefly talked about it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The ups, definitely, like I said, you've got this fame, you've got this recognition, you
Right.
have this platform, and it's up to you to make the most out of that platform, which I feel like I have this past year. The downside, I also talked about this earlier. Now the challenge of having a private life, it's not as easy as one might think, especially if you're the only drag race girl in your city.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes hard for me to just kind of have a night out with my friends at the queer spaces here that we have in the city
So hard.
without being stopped for small talk or like a hug or whatever. Which I'm like, yes, I will gladly give it, but sometimes you just kind of want to be left alone.
You want to do
There
your own
are
thing.
moments where you just want to be left alone, and that's not always a guarantee that you're going to have that. So again, I talked about grace and
Mm-hmm.
respecting other people. So it's fine balance.
I'll give you just two more questions. This one is from Conrad, and I believe they are a playwright and director in Calgary. But they said, "How would you do the Traitors differently?" So, spoiler warning for anybody that hasn't watched anything yet, like myself.
I would probably talk less.
Talk less.
If I'm gonna talk, if I'm going to think about strategy and just winning the game,
Mm,
meaning just winning the money, I would probably talk less and just trying to coast as best as I can for as long as I can. Um, on the other hand, that wouldn't make for great TV, and I didn't get cast. I didn't get cast on this show to coast, to be quiet, to be an observer. I did not get cast for this part to be that queen girl. No, I was there because they wanted to see what I could do at the round table, uh,
mm-hmm.
the confessionals, and
And you
now
deliver.
surprisingly to a lot of people, what I can do in physical challenges as well. That
Mm-hmm.
she's actually fit and strong. I'm like, yeah. So no, in hindsight, I think other things are meant to happen.
Okay. All right. She's giving a wink, wink for those that are listening, and nudge,
We don't
nudge.
know. We don't know. So I'm hopeful that other things are meant to happen. There you go. Let's put it that way.
I'm so
I'm hopeful.
excited.
I don't want to jump the gun, um, and assume that other things are going to happen.
Uh
I'm
huh.
hopeful that this is a stepping stone for something else that is meant to be for me.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Can you tell me when I hit record and end it? Can you tell me the secret or no?
Absolutely not. And there's nothing to tell.
Oh my God.
And there's
Okay.
nothing to tell. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be patient. Thank you. You delivered. And thank you for such an amazing episode together. I want to give the opportunity to share your social media and etc. Whatever projects that you can speak about are coming up next for folks to follow along with you and all the cool things that you're doing.
100%. Thank you so much for having me here, and just follow me on Instagram, Melinda Verga. X, I think I'm about to exit,
Uh-huh.
so
Good move.
so hold off on that. But definitely on Instagram, I'm Melinda Verga, and also my website, melindaverga.com. If you want to get some merch, that is the number one way that you can also support me right now. So otherwise, I look forward to seeing everyone that's watching this right now. I look forward to seeing all y'all in your cities very, very soon.
Yes, and hopefully in Lethbridge, Alberta, also known as Las
Please,
Vegas. We need to hook you up
Bring
with
me to
Lethbridge
Lethbridge.
Pride. I want to see you.
I've heard so much, if anything, too much about the city for the past couple of years. I need to be
It's a
I need to be in
sign.
Lethbridge.
You do.
I need to
I
be in
really think you
Lethbridge.
do. And when you're here, I will happily make leche flan, caldereta. I'll make whatever you want for
Period.
you.
I'd love to sample the local meats.
Okay, she made her offer. She is booked, busy, and available.
And thirsty.
And
So,
thirsty.
yeah, let's keep that in mind.
Yes. But can I ask you for one more favor, my friend? Can you look at the camera and just say, my name is Melinda Verga, and you're watching Queer in Alberta?
Mabuhay! My name is Melinda Verga, and you are watching Queer in Alberta.
Yay! And that is a wrap on Queer in Alberta Season 3. I can't believe it. Thank you so much for tuning in. A massive shout out to StoryHive for supporting 3 seasons of Queer in Alberta. It has been the pleasure and joy of a lifetime to work with you, and thank you for continuing to support queer storytelling here on the Canadian prairies. A massive thank you from the bottom of my heart to the 8 guests who made this season, in my opinion, the best season that I've been able to film so far. The people that I had the opportunity to chat with are exactly what makes the show so special. So please, as the audience, go and check out their social media that they shared throughout the episodes, and check out all of the cool things that they've been doing ever since we filmed. Now, if you're wanting more Queer in Alberta, Season 1 and 2 are of course also available for streaming here on TELUS TV. But you can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasting fix for even more behind-the-scenes exclusive content and episodes that are not available here on TELUS TV. If you like the show, it would mean the world to me if you gave it a 5-star rating, if you shared the episodes with your friends, and I'd love to see what your favorite moments from the season were in the comments. As a last update before I go, I have some really exciting news. If you've been following along with the show ever since Season 1, you've watched it go from Zoom interviews to in person in a studio. Well, I'm so excited to share that Queer in Alberta is hitting its next level up iteration thanks to the folks at Stringham LLP. Stringham LLP has sponsored 4 more episodes of Queer in Alberta. With these episodes, I am so excited to say that we'll be filming not only in person, but also on location in 4 different communities here in the province of Alberta. So yeah, I'm going to hit the road in my little mom car. I'm so excited about it. Gonna pack it with all of my gear. I can't wait to decide which communities I'm gonna go to. So thank you to Stringham LLP for sponsoring these episodes and for bringing you as the audience more Queer in Alberta very, very soon. Wherever you are listening from today, whether it's Alberta or somewhere else altogether, I hope you are feeling celebrated, seen, and loved for the wonderful person that you are. Until next time, we'll see you besties. Bye.